There is something deeply unsettling about chaos. It rattles us, fractures the fabric of our being, and renders the world around us incomprehensible. It may arrive uninvited, a sudden loss, a shattered expectation, a sharp word, or a devastating betrayal. In these moments, we search for stability, for a handhold to pull us from the torrent of confusion that threatens to sweep us away. Yet, what we often fail to grasp is that chaos, in its many forms, is inevitable. We cannot escape the randomness, the upheavals that life serves us, because the world is indifferent to our desires and the fates often spin without consideration. Yet, in this very realization lies the seed of our liberation. For if chaos is the rule, then our task is not to change the world, but to transform our relationship with it. And it is here, in this crucible of turmoil and uncertainty, that Stoicism becomes our ally. The philosophy offers not a way to avoid life's tempests, but a means to calm our inner seas, to cultivate a serenity that no storm can touch. The origins of inner calm. The Stoics understood, perhaps better than anyone, that external events are beyond our control. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, wrote Seneca, highlighting that it is not the events themselves, but our perceptions of them, that cause the most pain. Life, they taught, unfolds as it must, governed by forces greater than any one of us. The Stoics called this logos, the rational order of the universe, a principle that permeates everything, binding us to fate. To resist this is futile, a battle we are destined to lose. But to accept it, to embrace the uncontrollable, the unknowable, is to find freedom. For the Stoic, freedom is not defined by the absence of struggle, but by the ability to remain unshaken in the face of it. Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them, Epictetus reminds us. Our minds are the architects of our suffering or our tranquility, and therein lies our power. We cannot command the winds, but we can adjust our sails. This realization does not come easily. We are raised to believe in the illusion of control, to think that if we plan meticulously, if we strive hard enough, if we predict every possibility, then we can carve out a life devoid of hardship. But life does not comply with our desires. And when it fails to do so, we are left shattered by the dissonance between what is and what we believe should be. The power of perspective. The first step in transforming our mindset, then, is to realign our perspective. What the Stoics offer is not a passive surrender to life's whims, but an active engagement with reality as it is. It is not fatalism, but a courageous acknowledgement of the limits of our control. The chief task in life, said Epictetus, is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. We must recognize the boundaries of our influence. The opinions of others, the actions of our enemies, the outcome of our efforts, these are all outside our grasp. To expend energy lamenting over them is a waste, a futile squandering of our most precious resource, our attention. Instead, we must turn inward, towards the one thing that we can govern, ourselves. This is where Stoicism becomes not just a philosophy, but a practice. It asks of us a relentless self-discipline, a constant vigilance over our thoughts and emotions. We are not to be ruled by anger, or jealousy, or fear. Instead, we are to govern ourselves with the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. For it is these virtues, cultivated within us, that form the foundation of a serene and unshakable life. The tyranny of destructive emotions. The ancients knew that destructive emotions are the greatest tyrants we face. They consume us from within, turning our minds into a battlefield where reason is constantly at war with impulse. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote often of this inner struggle, reminding himself that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When we allow anger, envy, or grief to dominate our minds, we relinquish our power. We become slaves to forces beyond our control, tossed about by emotions that are as unpredictable and capricious as the world around us. But to rise above these emotions, to master them, is not a denial of our humanity. It is the highest expression of it. For while emotions may arise unbidden, our response to them is always within our control. You have power over your mind, not outside events, Marcus Aurelius wrote. Realize this, and you will find strength. This strength is not the suppression of feeling, but the channeling of it. Anger, for example, is not to be denied or ignored, but transformed. It becomes fuel for justice, for the courage to stand firm in the face of wrongdoing without being consumed by the fire of rage. Fear, too, is not something to be eradicated, but understood and redirected. It sharpens our awareness, prepares us for adversity, but must not dictate our actions. In this way, the Stoic finds serenity not in the absence of emotion, but in its mastery. Enduring life's trials, the path of fortitude. Yet, serenity alone is not the goal. The Stoic also cultivates fortitude, the unbreakable strength to endure hardship with grace. Life will challenge us, that is certain. Illness, loss, betrayal, failure, these are not aberrations but certainties in the human experience. And when they arrive, we are faced with a choice. We can crumble, retreat into bitterness and despair, or we can stand firm, face the pain, and allow it to shape us into something stronger. It is through adversity that the Stoic grows. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body, Seneca tells us. Pain is not the enemy, it is a teacher, guiding us towards wisdom. In enduring life's trials, we come to understand the depth of our own resilience. We realize that no matter what happens in the external world, we are capable of enduring it. This endurance is not passive resignation, but an active engagement with suffering. The Stoic does not turn away from pain but confronts it head-on, trusting that within the struggle lies the possibility of growth. Fire tests gold, said Seneca, and adversity tests men. Each trial is an opportunity to strengthen our resolve, to practice the virtues that define the Stoic path. Freedom through acceptance. The culmination of this journey, from chaos to calm, is found in acceptance. Not a begrudging resignation to life's hardships, but a profound and radical acceptance of the way things are. The Stoic recognizes that suffering comes from the gap between our expectations and reality. When we accept life on its own terms, when we align our will with the will of the universe, we are freed from the torment of unmet desires. Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling, said the Stoic philosopher Cleanthes. To accept fate is not to surrender to it, but to harmonize with it. When we stop resisting the flow of life, we discover a peace that cannot be disturbed by external events. In this state of acceptance, we find that chaos no longer has the power to shake us. We have learned to ride the waves, not by controlling them, but by controlling ourselves. The Stoic's legacy, a call to action. And so, the Stoic walks through life with a calm mind and a courageous heart, unmoved by the winds of fortune. But this calm is not a retreat from the world, it is a way of engaging with it fully, without being consumed by it. The Stoic is not indifferent to the suffering of others, but understands that to help them, they must first master themselves. No man is an island, Marcus Aurelius wrote. We are all connected, bound together by the same fate. The calm we cultivate within ourselves ripples outward, affecting everyone we encounter. This is the legacy of Stoicism. It is not a philosophy for the passive or the indifferent, but for those who seek to live with purpose, with clarity, and with strength. It is a call to action, a challenge to rise above the chaos of life and find the calm within ourselves. In doing so, we do not only transform our own minds, we become a source of peace for others, a steady flame in a world of flickering shadows. Conclusion: the path awaits us. We are all faced with moments of chaos, moments when life seems to spin out of control, and we are left grasping for meaning. But it is in these moments that we are offered the greatest opportunity to transform our mindset, to cultivate a calm that cannot be shaken. The Stoic path is not an easy one, but it is a rewarding one. It asks of us discipline, self-mastery, and fortitude. But in return, it offers us freedom, freedom from the tyranny of destructive emotions, freedom from the suffering of unmet expectations, freedom from the chaos of a world we cannot control. The path from chaos to calm is not one that can be walked in a day. It requires practice, patience, and perseverance. But the Stoics remind us that the journey is worth it. "Begin at once to live," said Seneca, "and count each separate day as a separate life." The time to start is now. The world will not wait for us to be ready. Chaos will always be there, lurking in the corners of our existence. But so too will the calm, waiting within us, if we have the courage to find it. Let us embark on this journey together, as fellow travelers on the path of Stoicism. Let us learn to face life's challenges with grace, to master our emotions, and to find peace in the midst of turmoil. In doing so, we will not only transform our own lives, but we will leave behind a legacy of calm in a world so often ruled by chaos. The path is clear. The choice is ours. Will we choose to be ruled by the chaos of life, or will we master it, and in doing so, find the calm we seek?